Well, after the first week of Denver Broncos OTAs, it's been confirmed. Zach Wilson is still not an NFL caliber quarterback. I know that there's a sector of Broncos country that is holding out hope that Zach Wilson could possibly develop and showcase why he was the former number 2 overall pick in 2021 by the New York Jets, and at least display some level of that talent and turn into an NFL starting quarterback. I know that some people were hoping that after some football rehabilitation under Sean Payton, that Zach Wilson would maybe be able to become his Drew Brees, and it feels like people are disregarding that they drafted Bo Nix in the first round after trading for Zach Wilson. That should tell you exactly what the Denver Broncos feel about Zach Wilson, that he's a backup caliber quarterback, somebody who can maybe develop into a long-term QB2 option for Denver, but not somebody that they view as a starting option for the team. If they had traded for Zach Wilson and then not drafted Bo Nix, then you could convince me that Zach Wilson was an option for them to start. But right now, you just can't convince me of that. And based on what we're hearing coming out of OTAs, Zach Wilson is still struggling with the same issues that plagued him for his first 3 seasons with the New York Jets. The first one being the volatility of his play. Apparently, he started off okay in practice yesterday, but he got worse as the day went on. He threw an interception, and it was a really, really bad decision. The reporters who were out there could not say exactly what the decision was, but apparently it was one that could be seen coming from a mile away. So it was a really bad interception that should have never happened. And then, to top it off, he scrambled after that in a 7-on-7 passing drill, where that is the one time where it's okay to throw interceptions, because it helps you learn what you can and can't get away with. Zach Wilson just went downhill as the day went on, and it all started with that interception that he threw. There's no reason why Zach Wilson is going to be a starting quarterback for this Denver Broncos team if he's still learning not to throw an interception in 7-on-7s when it's actually okay to throw an interception. You don't scramble after your first read isn't there in a passing drill. If Zach Wilson's still doing that in 7-on-7 skeleton defense drills in practice, then I don't want to see what it's going to look like in game. Zach Wilson is not going to be the Denver Broncos starting quarterback. I literally put a bet, and I said that I would wax my eyebrows on video if the Denver Broncos started Zach Wilson. I am that confident that Zach Wilson will not be the starter week 1, because if he can't shake these issues that continued to plague him for 3 straight seasons in New York, then he's not going to see the field here in Denver. Now, that may change as we pivot through training camp, but I only expect Bo Nix to raise his stock during that time, and by that point, Bo Nix will be the starter for the Denver Broncos. I am willing to maintain that so hard. I'm going to keep that stance until that is no longer the case. Then it's going to be all about who's the backup quarterback, and right now, based on the first week of OTAs, Jarrett Stidham is the leader in the clubhouse. So yeah, guys, Zach Wilson just continues to struggle, and I can't really say I'm surprised. I want to bring in this tweet from Zach Seegers, host of Let's Talk Broncos, and he brings up a really good point here. The gap in performance between Zach Wilson and Stidham is comparable to the gap between Mahomes and Stidham. Stidham's adjusted expected points added per play since 2021 is .182 better than Wilson's. That is a large margin. Mahomes is .193 better than Stidham in that same metric. So this is a Grand Canyon size difference here, Broncos country. Zach Wilson is performing that poorly. That continued last year. You could harness a couple of games, the Kansas City Chiefs game, where he looked okay, but he still didn't look like an NFL starting quarterback. He was just making really short, dinky-dunky throws, and I'm going to be honest here. Zach Wilson plays the exact same caliber of football as Russell Wilson does, but Russell was at least able to perform at a somewhat adequate level. Zach Wilson can't even perform backyard scramble football at an adequate level. I've maintained that Zach Wilson needs some time in a developmental league like the UFL in order to harness his fundamentals, his footwork, his decision making, not panicking when his first read isn't there, and spinning out of a clean pocket and spinning into a sack, fumbling the ball, and the defense returns it for a touchdown. That is literally Zach Wilson in a nutshell, and I just don't think that Broncos country is realizing just how bad Zach Wilson is. Zach Seegers had another tweet that I totally agree with. Broncos country should feel the same way about Zach Wilson that the Seattle Seahawks and the Pittsburgh Steelers felt when they signed Paxton Lynch in 2019. Not much optimism. I'm sorry, because there was one point in time where I did feel highly about Zach Wilson as a prospect. He was actually my top-rated quarterback in the 2021 draft, but he did not live up to that potential, and he's only gotten worse as his NFL career has gotten on. He has not showcased any glimmers of getting better. He had a couple of nice games last year, yeah, but then he followed it up with some of his worst play yet that got him benched for Tim freaking Boyle. I don't know why this sector of Broncos country is so adamant that Zach Wilson is going to start, because the dude can't play. I don't mean to be so brutal, but this is a show where I'm going to give you the tough, hard, honest truth. And the tough, hard, honest truth here is that Zach Wilson cannot play in the NFL. He needs time in a developmental league. He needs time to sit and learn if he's going to stay in the NFL before he can even think about reviving his career. He is a 3-4 year reclamation project. Zach Wilson needs that much time because he was damaged that badly from a New York Jets organization as well as his own doings. I'm sorry, Broncos country. I just had to get that off my chest because I don't think that Zach Wilson... Oh, man, I want to give him some credit for getting better, but there just is no credit to give. He hasn't gotten better over the course of his NFL career. It's frustrating, and again, I do not think Zach Wilson will start a regular season game for the Broncos unless it's due to injury or the Broncos locking up a playoff spot at the end of the year and Zach Wilson gets the start in the final meaningless game of the regular season. That's it. Those are the only scenarios where Zach Wilson sees the field for the Denver Broncos outside of the preseason. All right, Broncos country, let me know in the comments section below, after this new information coming out of Zach Wilson's bad performance from OTAs, do you guys still feel like he's a viable starting option for the Denver Broncos? Drop those comments down below, guys. I would love to hear your thoughts, as always. Be sure to leave a like on this video, as well as subscribe and ring the bell so these videos appear in your notification feed. I would really appreciate it, guys. We are getting so close to 3,500 subscribers. I genuinely believe that we can hit it by the end of the week. We have less than 100 subs to go. All right, guys, and until next time, I am your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.